And that's a really challenging thing to deal with as a performer at the time.
100%.
You're so close, you can almost taste the forbidden fruit, and it's like, oh my gosh, it's not for you, sorry, we're giving it to someone else. So at that point, I was kind of low. I was just like, oh man, is this worth it? 2 big roles, very close to both, didn't land any. Should I continue? It's for actors. You got Link Up TV, GRM Daily, SBTV for musicians, but for people in TV and film, there wasn't really a platform that people connected with in that type of way. So I was working everything of a name, and I was just like, what I want this company to do, I want it to like level up people. I want it to, be the reason why people get to the next stage. So I was like, level sounds boring. Let me make a bit boutique. So I was like, LEVILE. I was like, I like the sound of that. And LEVILE in French means the town, the village. And I was looking at, okay, I want to build this town and village of creators.
Hi guys, you're really going to want to tune into this episode. We're joined by the founder of LEVILE, Ola Christian. He has a super interesting story. He started off as an actor, and then he noticed a problem with representation. So what did he do? He went and started his own agency, which focused on solving this problem. A truly inspirational character, so many great takeaways. And guys, you know what to do. If you're liking what you listen to, please make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment. It does wonders for the show. Now, enjoy. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of What My Best Friend Does, where we talk about what your best friends do, because let's be honest, nobody knows what their best friends do for work. Today, I'm joined by the founder of LEVILE, Ola. How you doing, bro?
Hey, happy to be here, man. Thank you for having me.
Bro, thank you for coming on, mate. We're really excited to get going. We like to start with a icebreaker.
Okay.
What did you want to be growing up?
I wanted to be a football player. There was no if, buts, or maybes. I wanted to be the new Thierry Henry.
Okay.
But, obviously, life had other plans.
Knee injury.
Knee injury, look, I said knee injury. That's why I tell people, I didn't make it because I got a bad knee injury. But, football, that was my first love, for sure. Yeah, definitely.
So football was your first love. You've now obviously founded LEVILE, but before we get into that, let's take it way back. Like, what did you study in secondary school? Yeah. Did you go to university? Talk us, through your journey to that point.
Yeah, no, of course. I went to secondary school in North London, Enfield. Some people say it's not North London, but we claim North London. Yeah. So I went to secondary school in Enfield, and I spent a year in Nigeria actually for year 7. In an international boarding school. It was like a private school for international students, and then I came back for year 8. Okay. So it's funny, when I came back, all my friends were looking up to me like, oh my God, this guy's so tall. What you been eating over there? So
the Ebba was banging. The Ebba was banging.
The J Rice, crazy. It's probably all that organic food maybe, or just genetics, we don't know. But so over here, I went to a secondary school called Chase. Really good time there. I had great friends there from primary school, and I met new people. And I like to say I was definitely one of the more popular kids in school at the time. Yeah. It was really good. It was a really good experience. Still got a great relationship with my teachers from there. They still follow me on LinkedIn. We still have chats here and there. And it was really good. And then obviously GCSE, you're studying typical subjects like maths, science, English, and I managed to pass my GCSEs, and then went on to A-levels because, I had ambitions of going to uni, or should I say, my mum was really keen in me. the Nigerian thing, right? The truth, yeah. So it didn't really feel like I had an option. It was more like this is the rite of passage. This is what you need to do.
So on that, sorry to just jump in there, it's a rite of passage. When you're like, I'm going to go to university, I'm going to study, do you know what it is you want to study at that point, or you just go in to make your mum happy?
I definitely didn't know what I wanted to study because during that time, so finish year 11, get your GCSEs, and then I'm thinking, do I want to go to football college or do I want to go and study at sixth form? And then I remember I had a conversation with one of my head of years. And she was just like, trust me, just go to sixth form. You'll enjoy the experience. You'll never regret it. Football, you can always kind of do it on the side. You don't really need to focus all your energy on it in that way. you know, and I was kind of in two minds because I believe if you really want to achieve something, you need to kind of put your all into it.
100%.
But, you know, she saw me playing, she thought, maybe this ain't a career for him. I'm trying to advise you. You're good at this. So I just thought, okay, cool. Let me take that advice and study some A-levels. So I ended up choosing 3 subjects: politics, film studies, psychology, and maths. Dropped maths because it was just ridiculous. And film naturally was my passion. Okay. So I was always going to choose that subject if I was going to pick something in A-levels, because if you think of the 3, there's no real synergy between the 3: film, psychology, politics. But I enjoyed all 3 subjects. Really good teachers again. Obviously, I'm in an environment where I know everyone already, so I felt really comfortable there. And then, from there, you know, got the grades I needed to go to study business and marketing at university. Okay. Again, which is kind of not linked to anything that I study, but after passing and speaking to my mum and saying, look, mum, I want to go to university now. Like, I'm not sure if I want to do film studies, if I want to jump into acting full time, or you know, I'm not really sure what course I want to study. And she was just like, look, the best thing for you to do, I know what you're like, is just go and study something that you feel like you can do in the future, right? And see if you can take some transferable skills from your, whatever degree it is, and apply it to whatever you want to do in the future. Just make sure you get your degree. Okay. And you know, back then there was that thing of like, you need a backup option regardless, right? So I just thought, okay, business and marketing makes the most sense. I enjoy where the world is going with social media at that time. Like, it was a new thing. Like, I don't know how old you are, but back then, you know, it wasn't really social media like that. And then Instagram was like just kind of new. Everyone just uploading pictures. There was like 5 filters, 6 filters or whatever. So I just decided, okay, cool, let me do business and marketing, and I went for that.
Okay, so a couple of things to unpack there. Yeah. You mentioned the fact that you've always been passionate about film, and you were always going to choose it for A-level, and then you consider choosing it for university. Let's take it back. Like, where did that passion for film come from? Yeah, no, good question.
So when I was younger, my dad always used to buy like movies and just leave them there next to the VHS player. I'm not sure you remember that.
Yeah, I do.
Man, kids of today, they don't know how lucky they have it with Netflix and all this stuff. Honestly. So we had and you know, the first 2 films that I saw were Terminator and The Mask.
Hey. Yeah. Okay. Bangers.
Bangers, right? And I remember watching Terminator thinking, like, this guy's got muscles, he's big, he's strong, he's aggressive, like, he's masculine. I was thinking, I'd love to be this type of person when I'm older. Like, he looks badass. And The Mask was another thing where, you know, it's a super charismatic character. You know, if you look at, you know, his origins, and then when he puts on the mask, who he transforms into, and just the humor and everything around it, I was just like, wow, this is so like wonderful. I love watching this. So that's where I kind of got my love for it. And for some random reason, in my house, in the council flat that we're living in, I had cable in my room.
Wait.
Random, right?
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What type of Nigerian upbringing did you have? So I was lucky enough to have cable in my room. So I don't know how and I don't know why, but Le Haine, which is like a popular French film, came on. And that just kind of blew my mind. Like, I was watching it thinking, this is in a different language. I'm seeing subtitles. I don't really understand what's going on here, but it's depicting a world that I haven't seen before. Obviously, there's similarities with what we experience over here in the UK, you know, with the working class culture, trying to navigate through social housing crisis. Like, you got 3 different people from different ethnicities and backgrounds and how they come together to do. Like, it was so interesting to me. For me, those 3 films kind of pieced together just made me go, okay, this is definitely something I would love to do in the future and get into.
Okay, sick. So obviously you've had the passion for a long time. You end up studying business. You said business and marketing at university. During your time at university, like, does film take a back seat? Like, are you doing stuff on the side? Like, what happens whilst you get that degree from that side?
No, good question. So when I was at university, I decided to step in front of camera.
Okay.
Right? Because with university, providing you do your work, you have time. Like, you definitely have time if you know how to.
Even if you don't do your work, you got time.
you got time, right? You know what I mean? You got time to do many things. But so I had time. So I was just thinking, okay, so in the spare time that I have, what do I want to do? obviously working a part-time job just to make sure I can have income for myself. My mum always drilled it into me. As soon as you're 16, you're paying for your own bills, your phone bill, all of this. So make sure you're always working.
100%.
So I decided to pick up acting. So I did an online web series, like first one called No ID. And it's so funny when I look back on that show, there's some like really interesting people that were involved in that series, and they've gone on to do incredible things. So like Ryan Calais Cameron, who's now got 4 Black Boys in theatre.
Oh wow, yeah.
He was the lead guy in the show.
Oh, I've seen that.
Yeah,
two times.
Yeah,
when
I don't blame you.
Yeah,
But it's really good, man.
Sick.
Like, it's done so well. Then you've got there's a guy, I'm not sure if he wants me to mention it, but a guy called Jojo. He's got this thing called Recess and No Signal, and he was one of the actors in the series that I was in as well. There's other people as well that have just kind of gone on to do really good things. It's just random. Sometimes you just kind of find yourself in a space where everyone's going to go on and excel. So anyway, did that and kind of caught the bug for it. I was like, I kind of like this. YouTube was kind of new at the time, sharing web series on YouTube. And there was other web series at the time that were popular as well. So it was almost like okay, this is interesting. This is something that I enjoy doing. Let me continue to expand on it. And yeah, during uni, I was from the first year, second year, third year, I was just auditioning for different projects. So I managed to get myself an agent, get some good headshots, and all of these things allowed me to go and audition for projects. And even after uni, when I picked up a full-time job, I still continue to do acting and try to work around it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love that. And there'll be an episode that is out by the time this has been recorded, where we spoke to another actress, shout out Addie, and she mentioned picking up an agent early on as well, and getting success in some of her early auditions. How is it you went about securing an agent so early? Like, is it just like Google search? Like, did you know somebody? How did you go about doing that?
So I guess Google was definitely the starting point, going on there, searching agents. But, knowing myself, I'm very strategic with how I want to approach things. So I wouldn't necessarily go to the largest agency. I'll go to a more boutique agency, which might have 20 people in their roster, 30 people in their roster. Maybe they don't have someone that looks like me. So they're looking for someone like me. So I'll approach them and be like, hey, I'm looking for representation. Would you be interested in repping me? So like, I remember my first agent, cool. Tried their best, but weren't necessarily, the most reputable in the industry. And then I think someone saw me in something, and then they reached out to me.
Okay, sick.
And then they were like, oh, we'd love to rep you. And I had a look at their client roster. I was like, okay, this is a better agency. So it's still not the biggest in the world, but a better agency to be at. So then what happened then was, depending on the agency you're at, not all the time, but usually, especially back then, with their network, will determine what type of opportunities are presented to yourself. So then I started to realize I'm getting auditions for bigger projects. So like for BBC, for ITV, massive feature films. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, this is super exciting. Let me see where this goes.
Okay, sick. And you mentioned the fact that you're getting all of these auditions. What are the kind of roles that you're actually auditioning for? Like, is it like the stereotypical like extra number 3 who's this and that, like because when I was speaking to Addie, she mentioned the fact that she ended up doing more work behind the camera because she felt like the roles had no substance. So I suppose my question is, did you feel like the roles that you were getting put forward for had substance?
Good question. Initially, no.
Okay.
You're being put forward for Hoodie 1, Thug 2, Bad Boy here, Man Them this.
And how did you feel at the time when you were you just like, the game's the game, I'm just trying to make it, or did you feel a type of way about always being put through?
Of course, I felt a type of way, which led to me creating LEVILE.
Amazing.
But at the same time, you have to understand that generally speaking, you're going to start off at the bottom. And the bottom of the barrel, unfortunately, are those roles. Now, my thing was, okay, if I'm going to take one of those roles, what am I going to learn from being on set at the time? Who am I going to network with? Let me go on set, because I didn't go to drama school or anything like that. I went to a few part-time classes, but I didn't go to no official drama school. Let me go on set and learn the lingo, right? Because even though I study film studies, you're studying films, you're not studying production per se. So let me go on set and learn the lingo and car, speed, sound, action. All of these basic things that, I knew were going to stand me in good stead for the future. So let me go and do it now and maybe take on a role that maybe I don't love. Maybe I'm trying to hide my face a little bit to make sure I'm not being seen in this role. But yeah, let me just go and learn.
Okay, sick. So you mentioned the fact that some of your experiences led to you starting LEVILE. Before we get into that, you mentioned the fact that you had a full-time job and you were doing it on the side. So can you just shed a bit of light on that time in your life?
Yeah, no, which was super interesting. So imagine this, I graduate from university. I'm like, okay, cool. What do I want to do now? Do I want to kind of go full-time into acting, or should I kind of pick up a job so I can sustain myself? But like I mentioned earlier, my mum's always kind of had that thing in me. Make sure you bring money home. Like, don't be coming home broke and all this stuff, right? So, which we'll get onto later. So, I managed to get a job at King's, which is a property company, so lettings agent. Okay. Smashed it there, smashing it. Got headhunted by a couple of places. And they were saying, we want to bring you in-house. And they offered me my own branch after like 4 months. Wow. Yeah, when all the letting agents that came into the office that I was in, like they were just running away. Yeah. Like, you can't beat this guy in sales, right? So it was pretty tough. It was quite entertaining for me. So shout out to the people at King's. Like it was a good experience, good learning curve. But what I realized is that working there, you know, the way they structured the salary wasn't beneficial for me. I thought, there's too much relying on this pipeline, and I don't know how much I'm going to make every month. It fluctuates quite highly. And like me, I'm like, I don't mind being transparent with figures. Like, say now, back then as an estate agent, your base salary might be like £800, £900. Wow. But you have to build up your pipeline, you know, as in get people into properties, you know, find new landlords, do a lot of leafleting, etc., to go and take it up to like maybe 1,500 a month or 2K a month. 2K a month is like, you've done well. Do you get what I mean? If you're doing 3K, man,
you're laughing.
Yeah, you're laughing. Yeah, at that age as well, especially at like 22, 21, 22. Then I left there again because of the money, and then I thought, okay, where can I make the most money but have the most flexibility to still do things on the outside? So I had a choice of kind of going into banking and following my cousin who worked at Credit Suisse, and I saw what he was doing contracting, get good money a lot of good money and per day. And I thought, okay, if I go there, my commitment from 7 to 7 is going to be too much. So let me just focus on going somewhere where, you know, there's a bit more flexibility. So I was looking online, I was like, let me look at some grad schemes and stuff. And then I came across one, I was just like, should I work here? I said, the brand reputation is a bit funny, so should I? I said, F it, let me just do it. Okay. And it was Lidl.
Hey, okay.
Yeah, so I was just like, the salary's good.
Yeah.
It's a grad scheme in its own way. So you're going to be around smart people. It's a management position.
Yeah.
Like 22, like 40, like 40K a year.
I know, I was on at 22. Yeah. It didn't start with no 4 in front of it, let me tell you that.
Yeah, so... yeah. So you can imagine, I was thinking, okay, and then I need to be there maybe 4 or 5 times a week. So I'll still have a bit of flexibility if I, you know, it's rotated and shift patterns, or, you know, there's a bit of flexibility around it. So I thought, okay, let me do it. So I did that job for like a few months, and then I absolutely hated it.
Oh no.
I hated it so much. Like the staff, I'm not blaming everybody, but you encounter some people maybe because you're a young guy in a leadership role, especially a person of color as well.
Of course.
They're going to look at you and try and do anything that they can to make your life hell. So even if you're doing something right, they'll do something wrong and then try and make it look like it's your fault. Yeah. And then...
Do you feel like, sorry, just to jump in there, like, because there's going to be people who experience that, right? They're a person of color, they're young, they're going to come across some abrasive and combative people. Did you learn anything from that experience? Like, even though you might not have been there long, is there any advice you could give to people who might potentially be in a similar situation?
Yeah, no, it was a great learning experience because you have to learn how to deal with conflict resolution. Like, that's important. In any workplace that you go to, you're going to work with people that you might not like.
Yeah.
How are you going to work day to day with them? You have to find a balance, especially as a manager. You have to find a way to be able to work with these people and appease them so your job is somewhat easier.
Yeah.
So I got to learn about conflict resolution, you know, people management, you know, like how to talk to people from different backgrounds as well. Like, how do you accommodate for someone? Maybe they're fasting during particular time.
Yeah.
How do you make their life a bit easier in terms of the rotating and scheduling of their shifts?
Yeah.
So all of these things kind of played a role. And, you know, sometimes you don't, me saying it now, you don't realize how much that helps you going forward in the future when you're doing your own thing or running your own business or whatever it is. So yeah, there was definitely lessons learned from that.
Before we move on, can I just say one thing? Because I worked a job back in the day at like River Island. And do you know the thing that I never understood? Why do people who smoke get cigarette break?
Yeah,
and people who don't smoke get no break?
No break. I've always said this. It's a cultural thing. It's because it's the culture over here.
Can I just go stand outside and smoke the air? Bro.
I agree.
It will never make sense.
It doesn't make sense. Every hour, someone could go outside for 5 minutes to smoke a cigarette.
Exactly.
But for me, I should stay on the shop floor. I can't get fresh air. If I, you know, so yeah, it's always kind of been a contentious thing for me, especially because I don't smoke as well. But at the same time, if you smoke, hey, no judgment. That's it.
No judgment.
No judgment. If that's what you do...
do your thing. But
do your thing.
Yeah, we were there. So okay, so we were at Lidl.
Yeah.
What's after Lidl?
So after Lidl, that's where it got quite spicy.
Okay.
So after Lidl, I believe that's where we got to a Warner Brothers project.
Wow.
So not a lead role or anything. Again, kind of like special action background, you know.
But still, you're there. You're in the room.
I'm in Warner Brothers. So for me, that was appealing. And the pay was really good for what we were doing. I think we were getting like, I don't know, £1,000 a week for the jobs that we're doing. So again, I'm seeing like, oh, there's money to be made in different roles here. But it all fed into everything that I did with LEVILE as well. I do with LEVILE, sorry. And so I'm thinking, okay, there's this opportunity. They're looking for these tall black guys to be involved in this David Yates film, Tarzan the Untamed. Okay. So what happened was they recruited about 500 guys that would look kind of similar to myself in and around the UK. We all go there, we have sessions, and they narrow it down, shortlist it. It gets to about 70 people, 80 people. Yeah. And we're all on this set. And you got to imagine, you're walking into the cafeteria at Warner Brothers Studios in Leavesden, you're seeing Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is shaking your hand saying hi. Samuel Jackson then walks in and is like, hey guys, like, what's up, man? Like, you're thinking, what is this world that I'm in? Yeah. You have a personal trainer, gives you a personal training development plan. Like, this is how you can improve your flexibility, your mobility, your movement, etc. You're getting yoga classes. So I'm like in this completely different world in this bubble. And the other great thing as well is that you've met like-minded people. So now you've kind of formed this brotherhood, because we were filming for maybe 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, going to Warner Brothers every single day, 12-hour days, coming home, you know, doing all these special action things. It was an experience in itself, like a very, 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 very interesting experience.
And that experience, like, that opportunity came because you had the like newer agency and they presented that to you. You've gone, you've auditioned, you've got it, and that's how you landed it. Yeah. And all of this you're doing whilst like you've got other main jobs as well. Wow.
So I got other things happening, but at the same time, that was the time where, you know, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to be on this project for 5 to 6 months. When I auditioned, they were like, oh, we want you to like be part of the principal photography. So I was like standing next to Alex Skarsgård, Margot Robbie doing photography and stuff. So it was interesting. As one of the subjects of photography, not taking pictures. So yeah, it was interesting. But I made a decision to leave Lidl, and because I was thinking, okay, I'm going to get this money, etc. But the payments come in slow. So that's the other thing that people don't realize is it took maybe about 8 weeks for our first payment. So I'm thinking, I'm going to get paid this amount of money. I'm thinking, where is it?
Why is it that it takes 8 weeks?
It's a lot of politics within the industry. You know, the money gets paid back from one person to another person to another person. So, you know, if somebody...
I bet they all white. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So the money situation was something to kind of understand, because someone was saying, I'm going to pay you in 30 days or 40 days. 40 days comes, you're like, where's the money? And then I'm going to pay you. Money still hasn't arrived, and it extends your thinking. Wow. How am I going to get to set if I don't have money coming in, etc.? I need to be able to sustain myself. 100%. But yeah, so that happened. But like I said, I left Lidl, went there full time. Then when that finished, I was like, okay, great experience. Met new people, expanded my network. But now I'm jobless. Got a little bit of money from this thing. I thought, okay, I've got to say, now I'm young. Let me go for it. Let me try and go for this acting thing full time. So then I did a few more projects. And I remember I auditioned. I had 2 big auditions for I'm not going to say what it was because it didn't work out, but for some major projects, right? And, you know, in my head, I was thinking, oh my God, if I land this, it's life changing. Mummy, we're moving. You know, so, but it weren't for me, but I got really close. So, you know, and that's a really challenging thing to deal with as a performer at the time.
100%.
You're so close, you can almost taste the forbidden fruit. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's not for you. Sorry, we're giving it to someone else. So at that point, I was kind of low. I was just like, oh man, is this worth it? You know, 2 big roles, very close to both, didn't land any. Should I continue? So I thought, I love this industry, you know, especially after the Warner Brothers experience. I was like, there's so much around it that I didn't know about before. You know, I just thought it was quite linear and straightforward. But there's so much around it. And I was just like, I want to help more people kind of get into the space because I know people like me who would love to have the opportunities that I'm having. And then that's kind of what led to me starting LEVILE. But at that time, I was working at a call center because I thought, let me pick up another job.
Yeah, bro, you have to. You got to make ends meet, bro.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Just on that as well, sorry to jump in. I'm like, in my head as you're talking, I'm like, let's not forget, you got mumsy at home.
Exactly.
It's like, you got to be bringing in, you got to be. So like, is your mum encouraging you to just get a normal job? Is she encouraging you to start LEVILE? Like, what are the pressures that are kind of coming from
do you know what? Let me just start off by saying a big shout out to my mum.
Come on.
She's like my number one inspiration. Yes. You know. She's like my number one inspiration, and I don't think I'll be able to be the person I am today without her guidance because she's just incredible. She knows that like I'm her biggest fan, and everyone asks me, "Who's your biggest inspiration?" Mum, straight. That's it. But yeah, at the time, let me go to this. She was kind of like, "You're not making no money now. Like, what's going on? Like, you got a degree, you got honors, like." Go and start, like, go and do something, go work in a bank and make your money. And she could just see, like, obviously at the time, you know, you get a parking ticket, you're not paying it. You got a bailiff knocking at your door, but your mum's thinking, what's all of this? Like, you can't you pay £100? What's going on?
I didn't bring you up to go to uni for this headache.
Exactly. So, like, it was just an absolute nightmare scenario where it's like, Mum, I believe in this thing. I was so close, but oohs and ahs doesn't pay the bills. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. So it was contentious at the time, if I'm being honest with you. It was very contentious. Like, she was frustrated, I was frustrated. It was almost like, I want to move out now because, like, what can I, like, you know, I can't live under her roof and then, you know, be telling her I want to do this and I don't agree with it.
I hear that.
So yeah, it was tough at the time. It was definitely tough at the time. But yeah, then when I picked up this job at call center, I was like an actors call center. So loads of actors worked there. Okay. So many. There was maybe 900 actors or something like that. So I thought, okay, great. This is great for me to network again. So look at the places I've been networking. At university, got to network. Warner Brothers, got to network. And I've done the online stuff with acting, got to network as well. So then I'm in the school center. I'm like, loads of actors. I'm networking with them. Rubbish job, boring job, the worst thing, but grateful that, you know, be able to make a little bit of extra income on the side. Then I was there, I was just thinking, man, I can't be here. There's so much talent here. Let me start up something where we can all work and do something, or even get to the point where we can work. Yeah. So I thought, okay, let me think of a name. And I was just like, what do I want this company to do? I want it to like level up people. I want it to, you know, be the reason why people get to the next stage. So I was like, Level sounds boring. Let me make it a bit boutique. So I was like, LEVILE. I was like, aha, I like the sound of that. And LEVILE in French means the town, the village. And I was looking at, okay, I want to build this town and village of creatives. So that's where the name came from. And I wanted it to be different from like a production this or talent management. I didn't want that name. I wanted a name that kind of stood out. Okay,
so on that, sorry. Yeah. So yeah, we've gotten to the point where you're starting LEVILE. How would you define what it is LEVILE is?
Yeah. So now, you know, I would say it's a creative agency that focuses on supporting creatives in front and behind the camera. So what we love to do is try and put people in paid positions in a variety of different roles. or engage with them and try and nurture their careers where we can best possible. You know, we also do events. You know, we've got the agency side, we've got the casting side as well, which is our foundation. And that came from the expansive network that I was managed to build over years. So that I was able to kind of see the opportunity there and leverage that. Because I knew people didn't really have the connections that I had to kind of be like, oh, okay, we have this production happening. Ola, can you provide 100 people? Yeah, definitely. Easy. I can send them a message now and I'll get 300 responses. When do you want them? Do you need them tomorrow? Because I can do that. So that's kind of where it started, and that was the genesis of it.
Okay, sick. And so when you make the decision to start the business, how do you go about securing that first client? When that you've got the talent, now you need to, like you said, you can get the 300 people there, but how do you get that client that to kick you off and get you on your way?
Yeah, no, good question. I would say our method at the time, Twitter was really popular. Twitter was really popular, and we had someone that was taking our pictures in a particular type of way, and we used to shoot monologues as well in the studio that my cousin introduced to me. She's like, "Oh, there's a studio down the road from where you're working. Cool, send out one stop on the train. Go there, tell your actor friends, shoot some stuff. Go there, we'll shoot things, we'll put it online. People will see it online, and then that would kind of have a recurring effect of, okay, someone's seen something, it's for actors. You got Link Up TV, GRM Daily, SBTV for musicians, but for people in TV and film, there wasn't really a platform that people connected with in that type of way. So we started posting content, and then people were like, oh my gosh, who's this new platform supporting black and brown creatives, etc. And then it just started to kind of build up organically. So people were like, oh, do you know Ola? He's got this thing called LEVILE, it's new, let's go and support, let's go here. And it just started to build. And then from there, I think when people start to see what you're doing, you're putting energy out there, 100%. Things start to come back to you. So one of the ladies who, when I was in front of camera, who I worked with before, she was just like, oh, Ola, I'm struggling to find people for this shoot. And I go, tell me more about it. And she was just like, it's for JD and Nike. I'm like, you're struggling to find people for this shoot?
Yeah.
And then I was just like, okay, how can I help you? And she was just like, yeah, I'm just looking for people, cool like you. Basically implying I want black people.
Yeah.
Right? So, but she's a lovely lady though, so I don't want to make her sound bad, but I just want people, kind of from your background,
with a little bit of edge.
With a little bit of edge, And I was just like, okay, wicked, like, how many people do you need? She's like, oh, just 5, but here's the budget. Do you think you can find me 5 people for this budget? So when she told me the budget, I was just like, you want me to find you 5 people for this budget? I can find you 50 for this budget.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, great. Okay, well, if you can send me the people that you think will be great for this, let me know. Sent them the options. They were like, wow, you sent that so quick. I think I sent it by the end of the day. She's like, I didn't know that you could muster up these amounts of people so quickly. So then we did the JD and Nike campaign, went really well, got showed across the world. And then I was just like, wow, this is how I can make money for my business. So I was just like, okay, let me continue to facilitate productions with talent and be the middleman to find people for these brands, especially at that time. Timing is key. That was a time where you start to see brands promoting more black and brown faces in their campaigns. So I think it kind of worked in our favor. Okay,
so that's sick. Where do I want to go from there? So you've secured that first income. Does the business that comes after that, is it inbound? Are you now going outbound saying, hey, look, we've done this campaign, it's gone national. How is it that you accelerate and, you earn that income where you can sustain yourself?
Yeah, so obviously at the beginning it's always challenging. Any business, cash flow is always a big thing, right?
Always.
Especially in the creative industry where it's so fickle. But what I had around me, again, with the network, people around me weren't just people in front of camera, they were behind the camera. Okay. So someone who was like a PA or PM on a production has now become a producer. So a producer has a lot more pulling power on the production to say, we want to use Ola's company to facilitate this production. So the people that I grew up with were kind of like, okay, I've got 5 producer friends. They're saying, oh, do you want to work on this project? Do you want to work on this project? Do you want to work on this project? We've seen what you've done with JD and Nike. It made us look bigger than we were. So then it was almost like they're doing sick things. So yeah, we can definitely pull them in for this thing. So I think there wasn't no outbound like outreach. It wasn't like, hey, I'm doing this. Do you want me to service your production? It was more of a, we see what you're doing. Can you help us?
Yeah, we want something.
So exactly. And then referrals were probably our most powerful tool. So people were like, oh, have you used this company before? Social media, again, people tagging us saying, oh, we use LEVILE services for this production.
Yeah.
So whether that was like creative or, casting, that people were like, oh, okay, cool. They can also facilitate this thing. So it was mostly inbound, if I'm being honest with you. Hardly ever like a, hey guys, we're doing this. Do you need us to help? Unless it was for a different part of the business. Like, I don't know, we wanted to do some BTS videos for somebody.
Yeah.
Outside of that, no.
So
mostly inbound.
With like Nike, that's obviously like a brand. Where would you say like your bread and butter is? Is it casting people, in adverts? Is it for film? Is it for TV? Is it for music? Is it everything? What's your bread and butter?
Yeah, I'll say our bread and butter is just bespoke casting in general.
Okay.
We wouldn't limit it. Okay, I'll explain it to you this way. With music videos, the turnaround time's a lot quicker. It's easier to do. Labels can pump money and say, we want these 15 artists to have to shoot a music video next week, right? And then, it's easier to kind of facilitate that quicker. There's less to worry about in terms of the creative direction of the project because there's no dialogue usually in music videos, So music videos, bread and butter. Then you've got commercial campaigns and digital content, which people were beginning to churn out more frequently. Okay. So, working with like the Wall of Comedy and Does the Shoe Fit and helping them with those projects and stuff like that was like really cool. And there was that boom at that time where it's like, okay, everyone's making digital content. All these brands are going online, starting to do like these shows, these game shows. So we were facilitating many of those productions. Then short films take a bit of time, a bit more nurturing. That's where I guess my experience and my decision to kind of step into the casting director world was beneficial because giving myself that title allowed me to work on these projects and also studying under some people that were operating as casting directors before. But if I'm being brutally honest, it wasn't necessarily my long-term goal. It was just, okay, I feel like I'm good at this. This is something I want to try out. Let me see how it goes.
Off the back of that, sorry to jump in, like, is there anybody who you can talk about casting who has gone on to, like some really great things?
Yeah, man, there's some incredible, are you talking about the casting directors or are you talking about actors?
Let's have both if possible.
So some casting directors I'd love to shout out, like Aisha Bywaters, incredible casting director, super supportive, like really good. There's Selma Nichols as well. She's done some really good stuff. You've also got Isabella Odofin, who's really good at what she does. There's also like Carmel Cochran, who's done like some incredible feature films, and her company just continues to grow. And they've worked across like numerous projects from Rye Lane that's come out. Like the list is endless with projects that I can.
So if you start to see me on Netflix, you know that I've been talking to Ola.
You're the next Idris.
Yeah, let's go.
So they worked on incredible, like The Kitchen. It was another project that we got to work on in terms of supplying some of the talent. Aisha Bywaters, she was the head casting director on that project. And just so many of them doing great things.
And you mentioned The Kitchen there. Yeah. So the way it works, just so like I understand the process, and if there's anybody who's looking to do something similar, so Aisha will get in contact with you. Are you supplying everybody, or are you just supplying like a percentage of the people? Like how does it work?
Okay, so good question. So it's usually handled by the producers and PMs. Okay. So the producer will have a conversation with the head of departments on the project. So whether that's the director, the writer, the exec producer, the financier, they will have a discussion and be like, okay, who do we want for certain roles? So then they'll be like, okay, we think this person will be great as a casting director. We feel like this person would be great as a DOP, who's the person
director of photography.
Exactly, yeah, you know that.
Yeah,
stuff.
We've had them.
DOP and etc. So it kind of goes that way, and then the producer or the PM or whoever can then make a recommendation and say, oh, okay, casting director, you handle this part of the production. We've also got this company who can help facilitate this part of the production. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So it could be a percentage as low as you supply 2% of the talent. It can be as high as you supply 50% of the talent. the casting director might just want to focus on just the principal cast, as in like the guys that are on top of the call sheet. So you might be able to have an influence on some of the featured roles, or some of the extras, or some of the people that are filling certain gaps, or maybe they want to reach out to, I don't know, a celebrity, and they know that you have a great relationship with them, and they might leverage that relationship and be like, oh, would you be able to help us attract this person and put them on this production?
That's sick. And then in terms of like the money, right? I don't need like specifics, but are you getting paid per role that you secure for them, or is it like a retainer, or is it a mixture depending on the project?
It depends on the project. Like every project is different how it's broken down in terms of how you get paid. As a casting director, you'll get your fee. So there's a thing called APA rates. So it's like you can go in there and find out what your day rate should be for the relevant project, whether it's TV show, film.
And what's the website for that? We'll put it in the links.
I don't know the website, but if you type in APA rates on Google, they should come up. Okay, every year they update it. So then you can kind of see like what a day rate for a casting director would be, what day rate for a casting assistant would be, a day rate for like they break it down for you clearly. And obviously it's always up for negotiation. It is depending whether you can negotiate that upper rate. Maybe your rate is higher because you're in demand, or maybe your rate's slightly lower because you're still learning. So that's kind of how the money thing works on that side. Then the talent side, if you have a talent agency, you will take a percentage of a fee from the talent. So for example, if you were signed to LEVILE or whatever, and soon come. Soon come. I know you're making big money, so why not? So we'll negotiate a percentage. It's usually around 20%, 15%. Just depends on like what value, or what agreement you come to with the talent. I don't know. It could be lesser if they are doing more of the heavy lifting, and maybe you're just facilitating things as in, oh, look, we've got you a job, here's a contract. But if you're maybe working with them in close proximity, almost like an agent/manager, which happens more in the UK than it does in the US. In the US, you have like a business manager, an agent, account person. There's so many different people that nurture your career and take care of your career. Over here, sometimes the lines can be blurred. It's not all the time, but sometimes the lines can be blurred between agent and manager. So your percentage might be higher, it might be 20%, or even some people 25%, or like profit share on certain things. So yeah,
that makes sense, right? So you've mentioned, you've discussed, the different splits, and how people can earn their money. Yeah, what I wanted to say is, you mentioned the talent, you mentioned the casting director side. Does it like become the case that, let's say you help somebody get a role, are they signed under you for all upcoming projects, or do they cut you out after that point? Like what is the relationship like between yourself and talent? And are you needed? Like, I know you're needed, but like I can imagine that people try and sneak around because everybody wants that money.
Of course. I think that's just part and parcel of the game. Like you have certain people that you might have an exclusive contract to. So they're exclusively signed to you. So usually that will be for a period of around, let's say, 2 years. It's like you've kind of agreed, okay, we're going to rep you for 2 years. Let's see how it goes. If they're happy, naturally, they're going to want to continue. Or someone might, come underhand and, sell them a dream and say, hey, we can double what you're earning with such and such agency, or, we have this thing that we're working on, but we'll only bring you in if you leave this company that you're signed to. So you got to deal with that politics sometimes. And then from the talent side as well, say now if you're a supporting artist, or you're working your way up to becoming like an actor or whatever it is, you might not be exclusively signed to anyone. It might be non-exclusive. So you might be signed to multiple agencies. So you could be signed to things like Backstage, Casting Call Pro, Mandy. Like there's so many different, Spotlight, where you can be a professional actor, and then casting directors can search your profile to book you for roles. So there's loads of different people you can sign to. It just depends on which direction you want to go. There's no right or wrong way. There's no like blueprint of this is right, this is wrong. But I think you just have to know yourself, what you have the appetite for, and what you think is going to work best for you for the long term benefit of your career.
And just like on that, to the listener who, let's go first for like aspiring actors. Like for anybody who's looking for like a key piece of advice to get themselves started, what would be your advice for them?
My thing will be get into training. So find a part-time drama school, so something that maybe you can do on the weekends, or once a week or twice a week, whatever it is. And when you're around other actors, you get to see your level, and you get to learn from people that are doing good and bad things. So you can be like, oh, that person does this thing really well. Oh, they're good with dialogue, but their physicality is off. Maybe I need to work on my physicality instead of just focusing on the words. So I'll say do that first, so you can learn from people, because acting is like a muscle. It's like you have to train it. It's like going to the gym. You have to keep on training until you become so skilled where you can just flick it on like this, which is not everybody. Not everyone's Lionel Messi. So yeah, I'll say do that first. Second thing will be to get some headshots. So speak to people who maybe have headshots that you like. That you're like, oh, this looks cool. Or maybe speak to some casting directors or talent bookers and be like, oh, what do you think will look good for me? Yeah, and they can just give you a quick opinion and just say, oh yeah, I think these people will be great. These people will be great. And go to a professional headshot photographer. Don't go to your cousin who just started taking photos down the road and he's like, yeah, meet me in Hackney.
You got to invest in yourself.
You got to invest in yourself.
Do it properly.
Do it properly, because the payoff will be there in the long run. You don't have to kind of, I need to take another set of headshots. Those headshots that you take in the first year might be able to last you 2 years, and then you might have to refresh them again, because you might change your look, change your hair, or like you put on weight, lose weight, whatever it is. So I would say do that. Then, if you're new to the game, like, I don't know, if you came out of drama school, you might not feel the need to go and get a show reel. You might just kind of rely on auditions and letting your talent do the work for you. But I would say definitely try and get some footage so people can see you performing. So that can be in the form of student videos or student films. You can pay for like a show reel thing. So like there's a guy that I know called Sebastian Till who does an incredible thing called Upshot Reels, where a lot of actors go there, they perform, and you can kind of you can showcase your range. And there's just many ways that you can kind of acquire footage now. You got your iPhones as well that shoot in 4K. If you know someone that's good at handling that and you can do a scene that looks convincing, if you haven't got the resources and that's the best you can do, fine. Okay, cool. Yeah. Someone can still look at it and be like, all right, I can see a bit of talent there. Yeah. So yeah, I would say follow those steps. Then once you've got that sorted out, then you can start looking at agents, you know, because you need to show them something. Agents not just gonna sign you, because it can happen. They can look at you and think, oh my gosh, your look is so different and unique. I have enough faith that people want to.
We can fix everything else.
We can fix everything else later, yeah. But it's rare that happens. Yeah. Right? That's like just relying purely on genetics. So I would say prepare yourself best possible, so you're making the job for the agent as easy as possible.
And then I love that. And then I know you've just given an answer, but like for LEVILE, when you're looking for talent to add to your roster, specifically, what is it you're looking for?
I'm looking for proactive people who have work. Don't come to me and say, Ola, I want you to rep me, or I want you to help me, and you've got nothing there. Like, you have to show me how much work you're willing to put in, because we know how much work we're willing to put in. So show me something, right? And it doesn't mean that you have to have 1 million followers, or no. Sometimes it might just be like, oh, you've shown consistency on a project that you set out you're going to do. Maybe you said, I'm going to do like a 50-day challenge and I'm going to post a video on TikTok every day for 50 days telling a story. And I see it and I'm like, wow, okay, this person has work ethic, because I know what it takes to film something like that and produce something like that. So then I can be like, okay, there's something there, you know. So that could be, you know, something that I look for, proactiveness. I think that's the main thing. Proactive work ethic and good communication.
Matt, I love that. So, when I think, like agents, agencies, you think, just get in and they're going to do everything for me. No. So just to clear that up, is that like a common misconception that people think, oh yeah, I got an agent, they're going to do everything for me? Nah.
100%, it doesn't work.
You've got to put in what you want to get out of it.
Exactly. Like, you know, some people look at, you know, I tend to look at talent like athletes, right? How do we holistically try and help this person? Yeah. Right? If you come on board and, you know, you think we're going to do all the heavy lifting, it shouldn't be that way. Yeah. Because you should want the best for yourself. Yeah. You should be asking us questions the same way we're asking you questions. And then on top of that, what are you doing outside of what we're doing to try to uplift yourself? Maybe we book you for a gig, you get paid 10 grand. What are you using that 10 grand for? Are you going shopping and holiday and trips with your boys or your girls? Or are you investing in camera equipment to elevate your content? Because then we're seeing, okay, this person's like serious. They're making the steps. How can we better help them? Maybe we can connect them with this person who can also elevate what they're doing. Yeah. So I would say, like, treat, you know, in LEVILE, we say treat talent like athletes. You know, like how we're going to make them better and create a scenario in which they can best thrive.
I love that.
Yeah.
And so we've spoken about, like people having like an expectation of like just being presented stuff.
Yeah.
Would you say there are any other like common misconceptions that we need to cover?
I would say that people just think sometimes if you sign to an agency, you think you're going to be working straight away. Doesn't work that way. Like, you know, there's times where, you know, you might have a conversation with someone and they're like, right, I want to be paid this amount. I just want cash, or I want to be in this project within a month. It doesn't work that way because there's so many people that have to green light you being involved in something. We can say you're great. Producer can say you're great, but the director might be like, doesn't have the look that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Or they might all say, everyone in that I just mentioned might say you're great, but then financier might be like, I don't like the content that they made. They did something a bit dodgy on this and post on Instagram. Doesn't really align with my brand.
Yeah.
Then what do you do? 3 people have said yes, 1 person said no. It is what it is. But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't try or be disheartened. It's just part of the game. If it's right for you, it's right for you.
Yeah.
Right? And it should work on both sides. You shouldn't just try and do anything. I would say at the beginning, maybe try and fall forward and put yourself in scenarios so you can learn and see what things look like, see what you have an appetite for. But when you get to a point where you know a bit more about yourself, the content that you make, the audience that you're trying to appeal to, be very intentional and specific about where you want to go because it will stand you a lot better in the long run. The less authentic you are with yourself and the content that you're making, the harder it's going to be because eventually something's going to crack. And then people are going to be like, oh, he's changed or she's changed or she's made a bad decision. Oh, why have they done that for? You don't want to do that because then you'll lose your audience and trying to win them back. Winning back trust is hard.
It takes all the time in the world to build the trust. It takes a second. It takes a second to lose the trust. I love everything that you've been saying. So the next question I had is, both from like, let's say in front of the camera. Yeah. What are the key skills from the most successful people you've worked with? You've mentioned that proactivity. Can you just reel off some skills of the most successful people? Yeah, no. Do you know what? I'll give a shout out to, I don't know him personally, but we've worked on a couple of projects together indirectly. Harry Pinero. Okay. Like I'll just mention him. Like he's obviously influencer if you don't know who he is. He's not an actor, but if he wants to get into acting, I think he'll do a great job. He's just so prepared, so ready. Like, if you, for example, a lot of times what could happen is you go on set, whether it's acting or digital content, the scenario could change, as in what we were going to do, as in what you prep for, we're not doing that anymore. Out the door. We're doing something new. Can you come up with something to save the creativity of this production or this integrity of the production? And then someone like a Harry, I've seen him just kind of, okay, cool, let's not do that. Let's do something else. Wow. And then he's just going and he's just so professional and clean and concise. And you can see that he's honed his craft. So I would say people that are prepared, you know, are people that really, really stand out. So like, you know, make sure you treat your craft like a muscle, like keep on training. When people are not looking, what are you doing to make sure that you're sharp? Because people behind the camera know. We know instantly who's like ready for it, like really ready, and who's just kind of here, you know, maybe because they got a bit of a buzz and this is their thing, which is cool. But make sure you're prepared for every scenario. So in any eventuality, something could have went drastically wrong. You've done your part. When everyone's left and we've wrapped it up and the content looks great or the film looks great or whatever it is, people are speaking and doing the invisible PR like, my gosh, Bio was incredible. Yeah. Like, he managed to save that. Like, it could have went so left. Yeah. But he was just on job. He was ready to go. You know, so I would say that. Be prepared. I love it. Man. And then, like for people behind the camera, because like you said there, people behind the camera notice what's going on with people in front of the camera. What's like the key skills for those people behind the camera? I would say behind the camera, I would say the ability to work with different types of people. Because you're not going to work with people that you like all the time. And you might have an opportunity to work on a project, but there might be someone on there that you're like, I didn't have a great experience with them before. But being able to go on set, put that aside, and be able to do your job, I think is key. So I always say this to my friends, like, if you're excellent at what you do and you know how to network and people like working with you,
you're always going to work in this industry.
I love it. And, you know, you've mentioned networking like at a lot of stages. It sounds like networking is like a key pillar in success. Mm-hmm. If you had to give like a key piece of advice to help people be better networkers, like, or maybe they don't know how to leave it there, like, what would your advice be to them?
I would say, like, you know, someone like me, I'll use myself as an example. I would say I'm naturally good at networking because I like to be around people. I like to talk to people. If I see someone standing in the corner by themselves, I make a joke and be like, "Oh my gosh, man! It just sometimes it can be it's a bit lonely in here, isn't it? Or whatever, like, you know, to get you a drink or whatever it is. Like, you just make a joke of the situation, and then you just kind of break the ice and talk. Like, I've always been fine with that. Now, other people, they might be a bit nervous. They might go to an event, they don't want to talk to anyone, or, you know, they might get a bit of stage fright. It's like, this person talked to this person. I don't know how to kind of enter the conversation. I always say there's networking hacks. Like, one of them is go to an event with somebody that you're friends with, because it's, in a way, I find it easier to networking groups.
Yeah, 100%.
Because then you can both go there and work the dynamic. If someone's standing there by themselves and then two people approach them, like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, nice to meet you. I can't explain it, but it just breaks the ice a lot more.
100%.
Yeah, and you feel like, okay, there's two different people. If I get on more with this person, I can speak to them. Do you get what I mean? So try and find out hacks of, like, networking. You know, if that's one of the things that you're worried about, you know, being the first person to approach someone, go maybe with a friend and do it that way.
I love that.
Yeah.
No, because I went to a networking event a few months ago on my own. It was tough. So just hearing that, I think, going with someone would definitely make my life a lot easier.
100%.
You've given, like, so much insight into the acting, the directing. I've loved it. Just going back to the fact that, like, you're a founder, a few things I just wanted to, like, deep dive into. Like, for LEVILE, you've been around for, I think it's about 8 years now. What was the tipping point where you were like, okay, Mum, it's okay. Like, I'm gonna go for this. Like, did it happen in year one? Like, did it happen year 2, year 3? Like, being a founder is hard, right?
Of course.
Like, did you always know it was gonna succeed because there was a gap there, or was there a specific moment where you were like,
I think for every business you have a moment where it's like, oh yeah, do you know, it's worth going ahead with this. And I think there were a few moments. There was our first event that we did with Growth Big and O2, who we partnered up with. And then, because prior to that, we didn't have no IRL moments, in real life moments. So no one, it was this brand, but no one really knew who was behind it unless you knew, you know. So then when we found a presenter called Swazi McCallie, and Swazi Shire now because she's married, which is incredible. And she's working now with BBC Radio 1, and One Extra. She's crushing it. Like, she's an incredible presenter. Yeah. And she was like, you know, we recruited her on board and we did our first event and people were just like, oh my gosh, this is so dope. I want to tell my friends about this. Like, this is what I've been looking for. And we're a bit ahead of our time with that, like, you know, with these panel discussions and things. So I think that moment there, I was just like, okay, we have something here. Because people came, they're like, oh my God, this is sick. Like, you know, people within our community were like, oh, we need this. This is something I've been looking for. I feel like I found a tribe. You know, so that was like validation.
Love that.
Then we also had a moment where we did our first music. Like, obviously the JD thing was good, but that was just one moment. Like, we didn't do anything for like a few months afterwards. And then we got to a stage where I think it was around 2019, 2018. Well, 2019, where I was like, no, this can actually become a business. Because we were starting to get recurring work frequently. Okay. So I was just like, oh, okay, cool. We've got this project. Oh, we've got another one. Oh, this week we've got 3 briefs that came in. Oh, now it's 4. Oh, 5. Oh my gosh, I need help.
Yeah.
You know, so when you're starting to get that recurring work, and sometimes it takes time, you know, because not everyone sees your stuff instantly. Sometimes, and then it just went, and I was just like, yeah, we're good to go now. Like, we've built relationships with these production companies. They've essentially they've become our clients, we become their clients, and we just help them out. So
And then one thing I have to ask, just because like, I recently had on like a founder of another agency. He mentioned like 2020 being like a very difficult time, right? And the fact that he had to scale back his business. So 2019 for him was also a boom year. And he was like, expansion. Yeah. And then all of a sudden he had to let like 25% of his workforce go because they expanded too quickly.
Yeah.
Like, was COVID, did it impact the business, and like did the work dry up, or did you find like other opportunities? Because he mentioned like mobile at home and these campaigns that they started driving from home.
Yeah.
So yeah, like how was COVID for yourself?
It's funny because COVID for us was like,
wow.
Yeah, like it kind of doubled down.
Really?
Which was, for me, like super weird because I'm thinking, right, I've seen a lot of people having to scale back. But I guess where we were at that time, we didn't have like a massive team. We we're still growing. We're still a very small agency. And at that time, we didn't know we was an agency. We were just helping with more casting and just a magazine platform at the time. Yeah. So it was just like, okay, cool. Like we're getting work coming in. And I'm like, what's happening? What's going on? You know, the George Floyd situation, BLM, all of those things. I think what happened in our industry was that people were seeing our name. Maybe they felt a bit of guilt and, you know, savior complex or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you understand how it goes in that space. And they felt, okay, instead of us going to, let's go and use them.
Yeah.
And then it was almost like okay.
Like, it's like, must be my choice.
I'm like, this isn't the way I wanted it to happen, but you know, if we can make a change or, you know, do something to benefit our community, we'll do it.
100. So do you know what? As you said that, it makes sense, right? Like, and they say that luck is when opportunity meets preparation, and it sounds like 2020 was that time, right? Yeah. So the opportunity, because of that happening, terrible as it was, it met the preparation from the years and years that you'd built up with all the networking. So
exactly that.
Wow, man.
Yeah. Like, so it kind of worked out timing wise.
Yeah.
Like weirdly enough, it was strange. I remember looking back on it. I remember in 2020 I was looking back on it and thinking, wow, this is weird. Yeah. Like this is weird. So yeah.
All right. So you've obviously been a founder for many years.
Yeah.
What would you say is the most difficult or stressful thing about being a founder?
That's 24/7.
Yeah.
I say it's, you know, you can't maintain motivation every single day. It's impossible. There's going to be days you work up and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to do this again. I've got this thing to do, and I've got this accounting thing to do. Corporation, VAT. I've got to find a new recruit for this position. It's just constant. I've got to build up my pipeline because in 6 months' time, I'm worried that maybe we don't have enough cash flow to. Yeah. So it's just constant. Like you can't switch off.
Yeah.
And it's, in a way, it's a bit selfish. So the people around you have to kind of understand that this is a baby of yours that you're going to nurture until you exit, you want to sell your company or whatever, or you just think, okay, I've done my time, I'm handing it over to somebody else to go and do it. You know, so I think that round the clock motivation is tough, but what you do is you develop a level of discipline to figure out a way, okay, what systems do I have in place? Yeah. How can I improve the operations? Who can I put in my team that can make things run a lot smoother? Yeah. And yeah, I would say that. But yeah, motivation is tough. I would also say is a part of, you know, building a business is heavily reliant on building your team.
Yeah.
And people come and go. So you got to imagine around the time when we're growing, people want to get married, they want to have babies, they got their own lives that they want to live. So the little pennies that you're giving them, they have to kind of make a decision and be like, unless you can give me
more,
not because I don't want to be here, it's just I've got things I need to do. I'm like 27, 28. I want to start my life. Yeah. So then, you know, having to kind of, you know, restructure your team or, you know, recruit new people. I think sometimes that can be quite challenging. It's part of business, don't get me wrong, but you build such good relationships with people and you've been, you know, from the infancy of your business, maybe they've been present. Yeah. And now they have to go and live their lives and it's like, it's a shame, but you understand.
And when you're like looking for people to join your team, is there any like particular thing you're looking for when you're like interviewing people or talking to people? How do people stand out?
For me, I like people that are authentically themselves from a creative standpoint. Because you're not going to go for an interview and be like, just chilling and just whatever. If you're smoking, you're not going to flick out. You're going to present your best work face, which is fine. That's cool. It's not a problem. But I want to know about what you're interested in. Because once I know what you're interested in, it will kind of let me know, is this the right space for you? Can you work in this environment? Like I want to get to know the person. Like, what motivates you? What's your background? What have you been up to? What have you been looking forward to in the last few months? Did you study something creative in school or not? You know, so I look at all of those elements. Of course, what I've noticed, if someone does come from an academic background, it does help because they're really good at meeting deadlines and understanding how that works. I'm not saying that someone who doesn't have to do that before you come for me. But I'm just saying sometimes, you know, from my experience, that really does pay dividends. So yeah, there's a plethora of skills that I look for, but most importantly, you as a person. Yeah. Like what's your moral compass like? Yeah. How much integrity do you have as an individual?
I love that.
Yeah.
And it goes without saying, and I'm just show up on time.
Yeah, be on time.
Don't live up to the stereotype. You know what I mean? If Ola says come at 1, come at 10 to 1. Yeah, 5 to 1, 10 to 1, please. Come on. No, I love that. The other thing I was going to say is, as you were talking there, like, you know, you've mentioned creativity. We've had a lot of creatives on the podcast. Yeah. Like, what is your approach to creativity? Is it something that is it a skill that you hone over time? Is it like, where do you draw your inspiration from?
I'll say I draw my inspiration from people that inspire me, or content I see online, or even if I'm walking down the road, someone could be dressed in a particular type of way and I could spark something in my mind, or I can see a billboard campaign and it can make me think, oh my God, this would be cool. I can see a group of friends walking together and it just give me an idea for something. So I say just life experiences. Yeah. I always say to people, live life, try and be out there as much, travel, go to different pockets, go to different communities, so you can take something from it to inform your creativity. That's where the best ideas come from. But there's also the side where, you know, some people who might have had bad experiences or dark experiences might have just a unique way of looking at things. So they might be the most, you know, creative people. You know, maybe their upbringing wasn't that great, but they really want to express themselves in a certain type of way. So the way they express themselves is very loud and eccentric, because they want to be seen. You know, they want to show people, okay, I exist. So yeah, I think there's different ways in which people can.
Yeah. Like what I heard there is like lean into your experiences, whether good or bad, and channel it into whatever you produce. Yeah, 100%. Which I think is sick. We spoke about like the most difficult things. What would you say the most rewarding part of LEVILE being a founder is?
I'll say it's when I see someone do something that they wanted to do, or you give someone an opportunity and you can see how much joy it brings them. Whether that's from a career perspective, financial perspective, or just being around people. Like that hit of, oh my gosh, I love what I do, always comes from that thing. Like, you can get the biggest brand deals, you can get, you know, you can work on the biggest campaigns and stuff. That's great, don't get me wrong. But when you see someone that's like jumping for joy and is so grateful for the opportunity, it just makes you feel like, oh yeah, okay, cool. What we set out to do, we're still doing.
Yeah,
you know.
I love that. Ola, this has been sick. Like, you do a lot. You said that being a founder is 24/7. Like, do you have any productivity hacks and like non-negotiables that help you? Yeah, like just check things off a list.
Definitely. Google Calendar.
Okay.
One, if it's not in the calendar, it does not exist.
Yes.
Definitely a journal. I think that's, you know, a handwritten journal. I think for me that's super important because I love to. I'm an early bird. 5 a.m. I'm up every single day.
Hey,
without fail.
Wow.
Maybe it's because of my football days from back in the day. I had to travel far to, you know, wake up early and stuff. So I'm just used to it and I like it. So 5 a.m. to like 6 a.m. I'm, you know, jotting down. Okay, what do I need to do today? What do I want to achieve? What are the goals? Then by the end of the week, what do I want to achieve as well? So, you know, the SMART objectives. You know, I'm sure you know what that is. So I think for me that's really key. Also delegating to your team, if you have a team, what their role should be as early as possible, because then it allows you to focus on other areas instead of you kind of having to chase and do things that you might not want to do. Because as a founder, you get to the point where you need to stop working in your business and work on your business. And if you're working in your business, you're taken away from perhaps future revenue opportunities or meeting someone who can, you can collaborate with, whether that's financial or just value exchange or whatever it is. So yeah, I think that's super important. I'm trying to think of another productivity hack that,
I mean, there was a lot there.
Yeah.
People only give us one. You gave us about 4 or 5, so you done good.
Yeah, I was gonna say as well, timers, and understanding the work environment that you're working in. For me, if I'm doing something that's kind of word intensive, like a lot of documentation, contracts, words, for me, I need to eliminate all noise. I don't want no background music. I don't want no Kendrick or Drake playing in the background. I don't want my cat meowing in there. I don't want anything. I just want me, my computer, my notepad.
Yeah.
Let me double down on this. Go ham for an hour. It's called swallowing the frog. Okay. You do the hard stuff first. Get that out of the way. Then all the other stuff, maybe you can pace yourself, play a little bit of music or whatever it is to get you going.
Yeah, sick. Ola, to any potential founders who, they're thinking about starting their own thing, maybe they've spotted a gap in the market, like what would be your advice to them? What should be the key considerations when you're looking to start a business?
Yeah, I would say, great question. I would say look at, one, the market opportunity. So, okay, if you want to start a business, is there actually a market for the service that I'm offering? If there is a market, am I solving a problem? Because, it's when I see people, doing certain things, and it's fine, like, go give it a go. Like, if that's what you want to do, give it a go. But I'm like, are you solving a problem, or you're just becoming another option that no one's going to use? So think about the market, think about the issue you're solving, think about the skill set that you have to apply to that market and to the problem that's there. Do you have the skill set? Are you the right person for it? Because if you're not, you're just burning relationships and perhaps put yourself in a bad light.
Yeah.
Right? Imagine you're promising someone, I can do this, production for 100K. And when the production comes out, people are looking thinking, oh my God, this is terrible. Why did we trust this individual? It might be a good salesperson, but can you execute on what you're doing? So I would just say, yeah, if you're a new founder, you've got a new business, just look at the market. Can you solve the problem? If you can, look at your skill set. Does it apply? If it doesn't, maybe find someone who can work with you to address this issue and then go from there.
Sick. Where do you see LEVILE and yourself in the next 5 and 10 years?
It's like, you're in a relationship. Where'd you see us? But yeah, so LEVILE, I see us becoming a powerhouse of an agency in 5 to 10 years. I want us to be doing the biggest campaigns internationally, so locally and globally, which we're doing, but we want to continue to scale. We want to have a bigger team. Yeah. We want to work with the best creatives, and emerging creatives as well. It's never just limited to like the professionals at the top of their game. We want to work with the people that have fresh ideas and try and bring them in, like we have been doing over the years. And then personally, for me, I just want to continue to grow and learn. Like, I think sometimes people can get complacent, or we can get complacent and think, okay, I'm doing this now. I've got this thing, so I'm happy, I'm content. But I just want to continue to learn, continue to inspire people, motivate people, and give back to the community. I think that's one thing that we always want to do. We want to give back in the right way. We don't want to just do it for the sake of doing it. We want to be like, okay, there's value here.
And on that, like giving back to the community, are there any like initiatives that you have at the moment where you're doing that?
Yeah, so we have a creative fund that we do. So the last one's finished now, so you can't ask us for any more. Yeah. So we do a thing called a creative fund where we, people can pitch an idea to us and we give them money towards a creative idea. Sick. Yeah. And even during lockdown, we're giving creatives like do a challenge, accent challenge. We'll give you £50, £100, £150. So we're always trying to do things to give back. We also have like events that we do at Soho House, which is really cool. So people can come there. learn about, okay, wanting to level up in the industry. Okay, if I want to sign to a big agent, what are they looking for? If I want to do brand partnerships with like a Meta or Red Bull, like what are they looking for? So we're always trying to look at ways in which we can give back, you know, and internships as well. If you want to come and learn on one of our sets or productions and you're like, okay, cool, I just want to learn a few things, come learn underneath us, come and work with us, see what we're about. We just want to be open to connecting with people at all times.
Okay, see, and I'm just going to ask this. Like when I see LEVILE, it's for, you know, like our people. Is it open to everyone? I suppose is the question. Like just to get rid of the elephant in the room, or do you have a specialty?
Are we niched down?
Yeah.
Now, what good question. What I would say is that I think naturally when you start something, the people to the left and right of you are going to be your early adopters, the people that support you. So the people that are around you, whether that's your friends, your family, your extended network. And like I've mentioned throughout this podcast, like you can tell the types of people that have been around me. But we're open to working with everybody. So for example, the first person that gave us an opportunity for the JD and Night campaign was an English lady.
Okay.
So am I going to say no to that? Because no, but she understood, okay, she has a pain point or she has something that she needs solving. She's come to the right place to solve it.
Yeah.
So we work with everybody. We've got people in our agencies that are from all backgrounds. It's not just limited to black and brown, but obviously me being a black man, me founding a company, me understanding the struggles that we go through, I want to, you know, kind of signpost people and say, if you're black and brown, we actively support you.
Yeah.
You're not just going to be at the bottom of the barrel, we forget about you type of situation.
Yeah.
We want to kind of elevate what you're doing and take it to the next level.
Yeah.
We want to kind of shift from being like, okay, cool, you just go to LEVILE, you just work with them because they're cool or they're nice. It's more about, okay, how do we get to the next stage and become a commercial entity where people take us very seriously?
Yeah.
And we want people within that to come from all types of backgrounds.
Sick. Ola, this has been a sick conversation. We're not done yet. We've got a quick fire round.
Come on,
are you ready?
Go, man. I'm enjoying this. So let's go.
All right, well, I'm drawing for the phone now.
Yeah, okay, cool.
But here we go. What do you prefer, film or TV series?
I'm going to say TV series.
Okay. Money or happiness?
Happiness.
Discover the next big actor or the next big director?
Big actor.
Work from home or work from the studio?
Work from the studio.
Would you rather travel to the past or to the future?
That's a great question. I would say, and I'll elaborate on it a little, you know, it's quick fire. I would say to the past, because if you travel to the future, I think you kind of take away the essence of life, that unexpected thing, you know, like, you know, you'll see what's happening. And I think part of the journey and part of life that's so beautiful, you don't know what's coming next. So I don't want to see what my future kids look like or what Bio's doing. I want to kind of go on that journey in the present and be like, oh my gosh, you've done this, that's incredible, that's great. And I want to go to the past. I want to see what my great granddad was doing in Nigeria or wherever he was at the time. So I would love to see, you know, that my family heritage and history. That would be something I would love.
I love that. I've got here. So if you could work with, like one actor who you've not worked with, who would it be?
It's quite a few.
Who comes to your mind as I just said that?
Denzel.
Okay, yes. You gonna fuck me?
Exactly. Like, what was you thinking during trading day? Like, what's going on during that scene? Like, how did you come up with that? Was that what did you mean?
Denzel is maybe the greatest of our generation.
Bro, definitely up there, 100%.
Sick. Who has it easier, men or women?
Oh, you want to get me cancelled? I'll say men have it easier, but I think it's tougher both.
Okay.
Like, I think there's different pressures on both sides. It's quick fire, so I'll just
I hear that. And then finally, like you kind of just said, but who'd be a dream dinner guest?
Dream dinner guest would be. It needs to be someone with like so much depth and layers to their story, and dream dinner guest for me. This is a tough one.
We're manifesting it as well, so
yeah, exactly. I actually want to give this. Who would I choose as a dream dinner guest? Do you know what? Do you know what's funny? It's not that I necessarily like. I'm inspired by him and everything that he's achieved, but it's not like like people say, who's my inspiration? He will come up first. But I would just love to have a conversation with Barack Obama.
Okay.
Like I just want to have. I just feel like the conversation can go in any direction and be able to articulate himself pretty well.
Yeah.
And just be able to learn something from him as well. I know it can be contentious, but I think, yeah, as an orator, I think he's really bright. I think he carries himself well. Obviously, some of the decisions that he made, is contentious, but just having a conversation to kind of understand his thinking.
Yeah, I like that. We like that.
Really interesting.
Ola, this has been such a sick convo. We do have a closing tradition on this podcast. So with everything that you've been through, like knowing what you know now, what advice would you give to your younger self? And would you still be doing the same thing?
Ooh, that's a great question. I like the way you ended that. Would I still be doing the same thing? That's so interesting. What advice would I give to my younger self? I would say take bigger risks earlier on. I say when you're young, you have as much time as possible to fail forward. So I would say take bigger risks, go ham. If there's something that you feel like is out of reach, just go for it. And then if you land on the clouds, you land on the clouds. And would I still be doing the same thing that I'm doing now? That's tough, man. Because if I create a Shopify or,
true.
But
man could have been kicking ball.
You're not gonna be. I could have been playing football. You know what I mean?
Could have been lining up at the World Cup for Nige.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
But yeah, no, I probably would be if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Maybe not exactly what I'm doing now, but within this industry for sure. Yeah. But yeah, it's a great question. To be fair.
I love it. You've been such a sick guest. Do you want to plug any socials? Where can people find you? Where can people find LEVILE?
So you can find me at Ola Christian on all social media. I try to keep it as consistent as possible to make it easier for people. Ola Christian the biblical way. And LEVILE UK on all social media channels as well. So you can find us there. You can go onto our website, www.levile.co.uk. You can join our database if you're a budding and up and coming actor, or you want to be involved in interesting projects.
But remember, no nonsense.
Nonsense, please.
Put in the work.
Put in the work. The way you fill out your profile on our page will say a lot about you. Exactly. So yeah, please connect with us.
Love it, guys. If you've gotten to this point in the podcast, you know what to do, guys. Like, subscribe, share. Let us know who you want to hear from next. Ola, this has been such a sick conversation, bro. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
This has been another episode of What My Best Friend Does. If you didn't know, now you know. Over and out.